Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Memoir of My Banking Journey by Mr. V.H. Ramakrishnan, retired General Manager of Bank of India. Episode number 34. The chapter of banking journey is continuing. The link of the earlier episodes are available in the description. The banking journey begins. An unforgettable trip. A day in February 1968. It was just like any other day. I started my routine work around 10:30 a.m. Mr. Karnik called me. He told me, "I'm sending you to Kunur on a special assignment. You have to leave tonight. Emma Natarajan will brief you." I did not even ask him the nature of the assignment since he told me that Natarajan would brief me. I came out. The childish part of me was happy at the prospect of going to a hill station. The dull part of me was worried about the type of assignment. I suddenly remembered the advice given by Mr. R.C. Mehta: never refuse any assignment, accept it even if you don't know anything about it. So I decided I would follow the advice of Mr. Mehta. Now, a brief note about Mr. M.R. Natarajan. He was in the regional office, a very shrewd and knowledgeable person. Later, he was selected for London training. As I had mentioned elsewhere, a very few officers got opportunities to go abroad from South. I went to Natarajan and asked him about the purpose of my trip. He said he would brief me during the course of the day. I came back to my seat. Informed saw me. Every 2 hours I would go to Natarajan. Every time he would tell me that he was very busy and that he would definitely tell me before evening. Meanwhile, he had arranged for my tickets. I was to leave by the Blue Mountain Express, which departed at around 8 p.m. The clock showed it was 4 p.m. No briefing by Natarajan. I told him that I needed some time to go home and pack my things. Then Natarajan told me that something or other kept him busy throughout the day and that the manager of Kunur branch would brief me on arrival and that he had spoken to him. I immediately rushed home. Did a quick packing. I had no idea about the duration of the stay. I thought I should be prepared for a stay of 1 week. Reached the central station on time. I sat down at the first class compartment of Blue Mountain without any idea as to what I was supposed to do at Kunur. I reminded myself again and again about the advice of Mr. R.C. Mehta. I always used to enjoy the train journeys. It was an old type first class compartment, not the one with corridor, compartment with three upper berths with direct door to enter from the platform. So after a good sleep, I got down at Mettupalayam in the morning and changed to the narrow gauge train to Kunur. It was like a toy train going to Ooty via Kunur. Beautiful sceneries. I forgot all my worries about the new assignment. Around 11 a.m. or so, I reached Kunur. Mr. K. S. Swaminathan, the manager of the branch, was at the station to receive me. He was quite senior to me. Later on, he became the General Secretary of the Officers Association in South. Strong in credit, fond of sitting late in the office. I also came to know later that he was a very close friend of Mr. A. K. Raghavan. I was put up in a hotel called Mysore Lodge. Readers should remember that my daily allowance was only rupees 22.50. Even in 1968, it was a meager amount. The branch and the staff. Mr. Swaminathan introduced me to the staff. Mr. S.V. Trivedi was the accountant, a very calm and quiet person. He later worked in AP. I met for the first time another young, charming officer, P.S. Shenoy, who later rose to become the chairman of Bank of Baroda. He was the beginning of a it was that was the beginning of a friendship which continues even now. I noticed another young man sitting at the counter, smartly dressed, wearing a tie. I asked Shinoy as to why an officer was sitting at the counter. Shinoy said it was not an officer but one of the best clerks called Achan. As many know, Achan became a general manager of our bank and later became the managing director of Catholic Syrian Bank. I have written a lot about Shinoy and Achan in my Delhi experiences, so I will not repeat the same. I will write about the functioning of the branch later. My assignment. Mr. Swaminathan, let me call him KSS as he was popularly known, gave me a couple of files of a borrower account and suggested that I should go through them and to understand my assignment. Still, I had no clue as to what I was supposed to do, so I started reading the file and making notes. After I read the file, I knew exactly what was expected of me. The borrower was a trader in tea. The account had become an NPA. The bank had tea stocks under pledge. Head office had been advising the branch to assess the value of stocks and also to get the property of the borrower as additional security. Reminders after reminders were sent to the branch by head office to take action. Unfortunately, the branch did not act. Finally, the head office advised the regional manager to depute a knowledgeable officer from regional office to Kunur to get the above things done. I learned later that Natarajan has expressed his inability to go to Kunnur and had suggested my name. I had an confirmed suspicion that my name was pushed to expose me to what was rough, regarded as a tough task. Maybe I was wrong, so I jotted down my action plan after getting some additional information from KSS. They were first, to take an inventory of the tea stocks. Second, to take a sample from each crate for giving to the valuer. Like value of buildings, there was an expert for determining the value of tea. He was called tea taster. He would taste a spoonful of tea and spit it. By tasting, he would determine its grade and value. Third, to get the report for each sample specifically marked, I should calculate the value of the crate by multiplying the rate with the value with the weight of the tea in the crate. Then total up and arrive at the total value of stocks. Fourth, to obtain the title deeds of the property from the borrower. Fifth, to go to the firm of lawyers who had their office in Ooty, now as Udagamandalam, the famous hill station. It was at a distance of 20 kilometers to get an opinion as to whether the title was clear and marketable. Sixth, to create a registered mortgage. I knew that my job would not be over in a week. Anyway, I started the work in the next morning. KSS was good enough to depute one junior clerk named Krishnan to help me. Both of us went to the godown. I also met the borrower in the presence of KSS. He was from Kerala. I spoke to him in Malayalam and established a rapport with him. When we opened the godown, we found crates and crates of tea stacked in rows. We decided in which order we should proceed. We had carried a lot of small paper bags to take and keep the samples. We also had a marking ink. We would take out one crate, check the weight, and number it with the marking ink. We took one spoonful of tea from each crate and put it in a bag and gave the same number. In a sheet of paper, we noted down the crate number and weight. Drew six columns: crate number, weight of crate with tea, weight of an empty crate, net weight of tea, rate and total value. Last two columns were left blank. We would fill them after the rate was determined by the tea taster. So slowly we started the work. Thank God Kunur was a hill station, so the godown was a comfortable place to sit and do the job. Small mercies. Immediately after the first day I sent my report to Mr. Karnik, I followed his style of reporting. Of course, I did not mention about my breakfast and lunch, etc. I got the report typed at the branch and sent it. After about 3 or 4 days, we had a shock. No, not any snake in the godown. I found that a few rows were stocked with empty crates. The top row only had tea in them. It was a clear case of cheating. I informed KSS about it. He took it quite casually. Now I had a dilemma. Should I inform the regional manager? I decided that I should place the facts before the RM. So I sent a report to him, but I wrote it in hand and posted it myself at the post office. Next morning, Mr. KSS wanted to see the report. I told him that I had already sent it and did not keep a copy. That was true. Obviously, he was not happy. I think we took about 10 days to complete the job of taking the inventory. We went to the tea taster with a full box full of samples. He was shocked. He said that he would take 2 full days to give the report. After 2 days, we got the reports and sat down and completed the remaining two columns. Promptly posted it to the regional manager. Then I started the phase two of the work. The borrower was cooperative. He gave me the title deeds. I took a bus from Kunur and reached Ooty. KSS did not accompany me. The name of the firm was Consols and Consols. I met the senior partner, an elderly gentleman suited and booted. He asked me to come after a couple of days. He then gave a clear report. Thereafter, we asked him to prepare the mortgage deed. After another couple of days, I took the borrower to Ooty and then we got the mortgage deed registered. Meanwhile, I continued to send every week a report to Mr. Karnik, all handwritten and posted directly. After that, I returned to Chennai with a lot of job satisfaction. Lessons I learned: never refuse any assignment, it may open new doors. Tailpiece: on my way to Kunu, the train stopped at Coimbatore in the morning at around 7 a.m. It was the breakfast station, no pantry car in the train. I had ordered a breakfast. I was waiting. My co-passengers got their breakfast, but I did not. The train started moving. I told one of my co-passengers about not getting the breakfast. He immediately pulled the chain and the train stopped. The guard and the station master came to the compartment. I thought they would levy a penalty for pulling the chain. On knowing the reason, they apologized and arranged to get my breakfast. That was the VIP treatment given to the first class passengers those days. Kunur branch interesting aspects. Mr. Swaminathan, KSS, never believed in going home early. I found to my surprise that all the officers were working till about 8:30 p.m. on weekdays. On Saturdays, they worked about till about 5 or 6 p.m. On Sundays, till about 2 p.m. KSS had tremendous energy. One evening at around 5:30, he invited me to come with him. He refused to reveal where we were going. He took me for an English movie. The movie was over by about 8:30 p.m. I thought he would drop me at the hotel. No, he took me to the bank, started working as if he was back from lunch break. I waited till 9 p.m. Then I told him that if I did not leave, I would miss my dinner at the hotel. Shenoit wanted to take me around Kunur, so one Saturday evening he went to KSS and sought permission for taking me out on Sunday. In other words, he wanted permission for not coming to office on a Sunday. KSS agreed reluctantly. Shenoit took me around all the sightseeing places and we had lunch together. On a weekday evening around 7 p.m., Mr. Trivedi wanted to go to the vegetable market just opposite to the bank and come back. He took permission from KSS. After he left, Mr. KSS commented about Trivedi shirking the work. It was all a revelation to me. KSS was very careful about expenditure. He would open all the envelopes of the mail received, nearly cut all the envelopes on the side with a paper cutter, and would keep them in a clip to be used as his rough working pad. I should also mention that Cases knew the business very well. He was fully aware of the intricacies of tea business and the background of each and every customer. Later, I learned that when Mr. Chaco replaced Mr. Cases, the branch was closed on time, no late sitting. Back in Madras, I returned to Madras like a warrior who had won the battle. I met Mr. Kani. He complimented me for doing a very good job. Later, I found out that he had forwarded all my reports, even handwritten ones, to head office for his covering with his covering letter. As a young officer, it made me happy to know that my reports had gone to head office. I was back in advances department looking after the same old packing credit accounts. After about a week, Mr. Kani had told me called me to his cabin. He asked in an angry tone about some point in my Kunur assignment. He had received a query from head office. He was furious and said, "How could I omit to look into that aspect?" I showed him a particular para in my report wherein I had dealt with what he had wanted. He cooled down. He smiled and commented, "Good officers are always good officers." I was relieved and came out. I felt at that time I had made my mark in the bank. A secret trip. Just before I left for Kunur, I had seen an advertisement from Burma Shell, a multinational oil company, inviting applications from chartered accountants for the post of management trainees. Just out of curiosity, I applied. When I was in Kunur, the company had sent a letter asking me to appear for a written test at their Chennai office. I saw the letter on my return. I had missed the date. Still, I wrote to them for explaining my absence. I got a quick reply asking me to appear for the test on another day. Their office was only 15 minutes walk from the bank, so I took permission without revealing the purpose and went and wrote the test, which lasted less than an hour. They gave a topic and asked me to write about the same. Quite simple, I did not tell anyone in the bank. Strictly speaking, it was not correct for me to apply without informing the bank, but the bank was still in the private sector. After about a few days, I got communication from the Burma Shell to appear for an interview at Bombay. They said that they would reimburse me a first class fare. I was quite happy at the chance to visit Bombay again, but how to go without anyone in the bank knowing about this? Luckily, the interview was on a Monday, so I decided to go by the Bombay Mail on Saturday night and to return by a flight on Tuesday morning. I was highly excited, not because of the interview, but because of the air travel. That was to be my first air travel. I had never traveled by air till then. I planned in such a way that I would be in the office at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Like my friend and former colleague S. Ravindranath, I also enjoyed the train journey. In those days, first class no air conditioning had its own charms. You could watch the vendors selling different things. One attendant was attached to the first class coach. He would help you in getting drinking water, no mineral water in 60s. Whenever the train stopped at a station, you had to run to the tap and get the water. No pantry car, food could be served at specified stations for which a person could come and take the order in advance. I enjoyed my journey to Bombay. Advantage in Bombay Mail was that it had enough time to make up and would always arrive on time. Landed as scheduled on Monday morning. The interview was around noon. The building was on the opposite side of our head office. I felt a little guilty when I looked at our head office building. The interview was quite good. After the interview, they told the candidates to come at 3 p.m. to know the result. I had my lunch and did some window shopping and came back at 3 p.m. They read out three names. I was not selected. I was not disappointed. Collected the to and fro train fare. Tuesday morning, reached the Mumbai airport well in time. Indian Airlines was the only airlines doing a domestic service. I still remember it was a Caravelle aircraft. I was almost like a child when I entered the aircraft. I was even looking forward to the toffees and cottons, which I heard would be distributed by the air hostesses. Nowadays, that practice has been discontinued. When it started running on the tarmac, I could feel the speed. Once we were on the sky, I felt it was moving slow. It was moving slow. I could even see a particular spot on the ground for a few minutes. I was worried. For some reason, the aircraft I thought had slowed down. At this rate, I felt I would be late to the office. My attention was, however, diverted by the hot breakfast which was served. So after about 90 minutes, when they announced that we were descending to Madras, I could not believe it. Landed and took a taxi. Reached office in time. So I was so excited that I wanted to share the news with someone that I was in Bombay at 6 a.m. and was in Madras by 10 a.m. But I controlled myself. Social control. By the end of 1967, the social control was introduced. The concept of priority sector was introduced in 1968. Mr. Morarji Desai was the finance minister. My friend Venkatachalam felt unhappy when this was introduced. He felt the independence of banks would be affected. He decided to quit and joined a private sector manufacturing company and bank. I decided to continue with the bank. Work on new building. Bank of India had a corner plot adjacent to 10 Armenian Street. There was a dispute between the bank and one of the shopkeepers there who had his right of entry from Merabalu Chetty Street had to be protected. The case had gone on the Supreme Court. Mr. Kanik took up this job of building the new office right earnest. Tarapur and Co. were the builders. They were the leading building contractors in Chennai. Chittel and Co. were very well reputed architects designed the building. In view of the dispute with the shopkeeper, the design was made, giving him a right of way. After a few days after the inauguration in 1969, we won the case in Supreme Court, and within 24 hours, we closed the approach to the shop through Erebalu Chetty Street. During the construction, Mr. Karnik used to be very busy with many site meetings. He also ordered a very big illuminated star which was fixed on top of the building. More about the new building later. A few people I cannot forget. 3. Mr. S.S. Balu. S.S. Bal Subramanian was an active union leader. He was affectionately called SS Balu. He had a booming voice and would lead from the front whenever you had to shout slogans in front of the bank. I saw him first when I was in cash book department. He would come and stand at the entrance of FE and cash departments and make some loud witty comments. Everyone will stop working and listen to him. First I thought he was a bully, but I could not resist appreciating his English. Later on I came to know that he had a golden heart, a powerful orator with full command of English. He was the speaker at all farewell parties. I started looking forward to listen to him. We gradually became quite close. We were in correspondence with each other even when I was abroad. His letters would reach me even in Nigeria. Only for the last 10 years I lost touch with him. Once when I was in Nairobi, I asked him what I could get him. He first wrote nothing. I persisted, then he said he would like to have a knife. Then I met him with the knife. He said his hobby was collection of different types of knives. So whenever I came to Madras, I would carry a knife in my checked-in baggage. I tried to get knives of different shapes. When my father passed away in Chennai in December 1997, Balu came up to the crematorium to console me. What a gesture! Balu was also in correspondence with Mr. R.P. Vaidya till the latter passed away. Mr. Vaidya had told me about letters from Balu even a year before his demise. Balu had a scholarly trait in him. If only he had chosen to appear for promotion, he would have reached the top. I will never forget his affectionate letters. It proved that friendship had nothing to do with the ranks. Tailpiece, once an internal audit team visited a branch in Karnataka. As usual, it was a surprise visit. Due to the train timings, the audit team reached the branch at 3 p.m. The leader of the audit team went to the manager's cabin and was in preliminary talk with him. In walked a customer and told the manager, "Here are the keys to the pledge. Go down. I have lodged the new stocks inside." The manager could not defend himself. It appears the customer was a very trustworthy one. Due to staff shortage, the manager used to give the keys to the customer and pass entries in the book based on the customer's letter. No cheating was done by the customer, but the manager had to face inquiries because of the serious lapse in procedure. 1968 eventful year. The year 1968 was very significant for me because of four events. First, after passing my CA final examination in May 1964, I decided to appear for cost accountants examination conducted by the Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India. It consisted of intermediate and final examinations. I had exemption from for a number of papers in the inter because I had already passed CA. So I cleared the intermediate examination in first attempt. I appeared for the finals in 1967. There were three groups. The coaching was by postal tuition from the institute. I passed the first two groups in first attempt, but I failed in the third group, which was the main subject, costing. That was my first failure in my life in an examination. I felt the main reason was perhaps I did not take the examination seriously since I had a good job. However, the failure opened my eyes. I put my whole heart and passed the examination in 1968. Then another problem arose. The institute said to become an associate member, I should get a certificate from another member saying that I was doing a job connected with posting. There was no other cost accountant in the bank in Chennai. So I prepared a note with about my work in advances credit department explaining that it involved assessing the project finance. Mr. AKR signed the certificate. I was admitted as an associate member of the institute. Later, when a brilliant officer named Ramananda Rao passed costing, I gave a certificate for him in my capacity as an associate member. Many asked me why I did not appear for CAIIB. Frankly, I thought after passing two tough examinations like CA and costing, appearing for CAIIB was not needed. Appearing Already I was in grade 1. No incentive for appearing for CAIIB. Besides, I was seeing many first class BCom graduates failing in CAIIB. My colleagues said the paper corrections were erratic. I was worried that if I fail, I would become a laughing stock. So it was better to keep quiet. Second, I got married in May 1968. I normally do not dwell much on personal events. Still, I would like to mention two things. When my parents started looking at marriage proposals, I told them clearly that no dowry should be demanded and no stipulation about jewelry, etc. My parents agreed reluctantly. One should not forget that we all belong to a middle class family where all these practices were going on. I also decided not to invite any customer of the bank, invited all the colleagues in Madras branch as well as other known colleagues in city branches, where there was full attendance at the reception. The music concert was by the famous musician ML Vasantakumari. There's a reason for mentioning this. A childhood incident. I was studying in Periyakulam in Madurai, near Madurai, in Form 5, Form V, equivalent of ninth standard. My father was working as the inspector of post offices. The local zamindar got married. The music concert in the evening was by ML Vasantakumari. She was famous then also, so as she was singing in films. I wanted to attend the concert. I went to the palace hall where the performance was going on. I could not get in. It was full and overflowing. Then one Mani, who was a lineman working under my father, saw me. He found a way for me to enter. He gave me a few bottles of soft drinks from the caterer and asked me to carry them to the dais and give them to someone near the dais and sit quietly to listen to the concert. I told them to give me way as I was carrying soft drinks for the musicians. Believe it or not, it really worked. I enjoyed the concert. Who would have believed that the same MLB was to sing at my wedding as well? After my wedding, we went for honeymoon. In those days, for the newly married couple in Chennai, there were only three destinations for honeymoon: Ooty, Kodaikanal, and Bangalore. We decided to go to Kodaikanal. I had taken 2 weeks leave, 1 week for the wedding and 1 week after the wedding. We had planned for a stay of 3 to 4 days in Kodaikanal. The hill station was very good in those days. I remember walking to Shanmuga Vilas Hotel for lunch. Our family used to run this hotel, which served typical South Indian meals. My wife and I felt we could spend another 3 days in Kodai. So I sent a telegram to the sub manager, Mr. P.A. Sanghani, applying for the extension of leave. Mr. Kopigar had moved out and Sanghani had taken charge. In those days, we had to give our contact address to the office. I had given my hotel address to the bank. I received a prompt reply from the bank. I quote from my memory, leave declined. We have urgent assignment for you. Come back with your usual cheers, Sanghani. It was a bit of disappointment, but the operative words, urgent assignments, was intriguing. So we packed up and we were back in Chennai. Third, new assignment. On reporting back, Mr. Karnik and Mr. Sangani informed me that head office had advised the zone to get the advances to small scale industries covered under the credit guarantee scheme of the RBI on a war footing. Now let me give you a background. Until the introduction of social control, there was no concept of giving any preference for small scale industries. The banks generally looked at large secured businesses. If they had financed if they had financed any SSI unit, it was the normal course as the owner might have been a customer. The Reserve Bank of India introduced a credit guarantee scheme to give comfort to the banks to lend to the small scale industries. The definition of SSI unit was that the original investment in plant and machinery should not exceed rupees 5 lakhs. In May 1968, the head office had written to a zone about the credit guarantee scheme. The Industrial Finance Division of RBI was administering the scheme. The procedure was like this: we had to file an application to RBI for the guarantee cover for each and every advance. The RBI would issue a certificate for each account guaranteeing 75% of the amount lent. Head office had also advised the zone to form a nodal department to apply and obtain the certificates from the RBI. Mr. Karnik decided to appoint me as the nodal officer to do the job. He told me to come out of the advances department to sit separately and start the work. That was the birth of the small scale industries department in South Zone. Started with one officer, no clerk, no sepoy. I never imagined that this department would grow slowly and become a priority sector department, including agricultural advances headed by me. Later to get split into community banking department and advanced agriculture finance department, the former headed by me. Again, I never anticipated that I would be heading this department continuously for 8 years. A glorious period with interesting and exciting experiences, unforgettable, brilliant colleagues. In short, I loved my job. You're going to read this amazing growth story from now onwards. I was told that this independent charge was given to me mainly based on the good work that done by me at Kunur. That earned me the recognition. That is why I consider the Kunur trip as a milestone in my career path. Now back to 1968, I was excited at getting an independent assignment. AKR asked me to occupy a table near him. After occupying the seat, the first thing I did was to contact the RBI, who had their industrial finance division at Kul, Kurlagam, 15 minutes walk from our office. There was one Venkatrama Iyer who was heading the division looking after the guarantee scheme. I called on him. He briefed me about the scheme and assured me that he would issue the certificates fast. He also assured me that any claim would be settled within 48 hours. He explained that any amount recovered after receipt of claim would be shared between the bank and RBI proportionately. I came back and wrote to all the branches explaining the scheme and requested them to examine their books and send me the copies of the proposals to enable me to cover them with the guarantee. Of course, we had to pay a guarantee fee, which was nominal. I examined the books of Madras branch. Surprisingly, there were not many accounts, but our Mount Road branch had quite a few and they responded promptly. When I received the first guarantee certificate typed on a bond paper, I felt as if I had achieved something. More and more certificates followed. I found myself busy. Mr. Venkatramayar was a very dynamic and committed officer. He used to speak in public forums and about the benefits of CGS. He always emphasized about the quick settlement of claims. True to his word, he settled one of our claims without any query within a week. Fourth, merger of grades. I had mentioned earlier about that there were two grades of officers, grade 1 and grade 2. Those in grade 1 were always considered seniors to those in grade 2, irrespective of the basic pay. They were considered as future leaders of the bank. However, the association was fighting to merge the grades. They at least succeeded, and the bank merged both, and basic pay became the criteria for seniority. Though I lost the opportunity of moving fast, I thought the merger was a fair decision. Those days, they were running grades grade D, B, C, A, and A special. Once you reach the top of the grade, you have to wait for a letter promoting you to the next grade. Otherwise, you had to stagnate on top of a grade. No interviews till you reach A special. Thereafter, you had executive grades. YMIA. Next door to our bank was a canteen run by YMIA, Young Men's Indian Association. Members could go and have snacks or tiffin at a very reasonable cost. Choice was limited. AKR and a couple of other officers were members. Later, the canteen was closed and a new air-conditioned restaurant was called Polymar. I think it was owned by the Krishna Lunch Home. Came up. That became the favorite spot for all of us. If any staff was missing in the office, we would simply send our sepoy to fetch him from Polymar. A few people I cannot forget. Fourth, Chittur Mahadeva Iyer Ramanathan, fondly known as CMR. He joined as a clerk in Greenlace Bank, later joined Bank of India as an officer. Right from early days, he showed a lot of affection towards me. He was in charge of current accounts, very strong in banking theory, very helpful. He later became principal of the staff training college in Chennai. He was a person whom I respected a lot. He and K. Gopalan supported me in a crucial phase in my personal life, which I would reveal when I write about my days in head office. Which when he was in sickbed, I used to call on him during my visits to Chennai. He passes away a few years back. Will never forget CMR. Tailpiece. Ramanan name change was a direct recruit officer who joined and later resigned before I joined the bank. He passed IRS and joined railways. He was working in bills department. Volume was very high. He used to sign the papers blindly. One of the clerks played a mischief. He drafted a resignation letter and kept it in between the documents to be signed. Kumaran promptly signed that also. After making fun of him, it was destroyed. I'm not sure whether this is a repetition. If so, my apologies. The chapter A Banking Journey Begins is continuing. Thank you very much for your patience. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.